Oh, there we go. Now it's going live.
Giggity. And is that going to be on Alpha Nerds or Alpha Nerds Twitch or what?
Alpha Nerds.
Why am I not seeing it?
Ready?
Yeah, let's rock, bro.
All right. Welcome, nerds. I'm George, one of your hosts for the new Alpha Nerds podcast. Press start. I'm also one of the contributing editors for the blogs. I write a lot about games. You probably see a lot of news posts from me, especially regarding Nintendo. I'm a U.S. Army veteran. Live in the Chosen Spot in New York. Been a gamer all my life. I'm big into animal rescue and baseball. Oh, and I'm a big Star Trek fan. So. And my other host is Mike. Mike, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, you guys know me as RonanBoy00, and I was on the previous podcast, actually. I am a big PC player. I have a PlayStation 3 that's sitting in dust, and a whole bunch of other old systems.
All right. Mike, why don't you tell us what you're currently reading, watching, playing?
Oh, God, man. I'm a huge comic collector as well.
Yep.
So I've got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe, Deja Thoris, which is one probably nobody knows about. God, what else? I've got Batman Beyond, Batwoman, Hal Jordan's Green Lantern, Corpse. Jesus, man. Just so many comics I'm reading right now. As for watching, I have a whole stack of DVDs that I just bought. I got the entire collection of the Chucky movies. I've got all of the Transformers Generation 1, Beast Wars, and Beast Machines to go through. And I have Short Circuit, which is a kind of a guilty pleasure. I don't know if anybody remembers that anymore.
Johnny
Five.
Yeah.
Your mother is a laser brain?
Your mother was a snowblower.
That's what it was.
Yeah, so as for playing, actually, I'm a huge Warframe fanatic. I have played the hell out of that game, and I still come in and do it. It's just it never gets old to me.
Yeah.
Never gets old.
Yeah, when I used to have a PlayStation 4, and I played that game a lot. And I traded in the PlayStation 4 for the Switch, because $200 is quite a bit towards it. But I'm actually getting the PlayStation 4 again this Friday. There's a little game coming out. I don't know if you've heard of it, called Spider-Man.
Ooh.
So, yeah. Anyways. Is there anything else you're reading, watching?
Oh, my God, man. I use some programs to watch a whole lot of TV, but, my usual go-tos are Family Guy, The Simpsons, American Dad, Rick and Morty, which, not supposed to know that. I don't admit to being a fan of that show because everyone's like, oh, the Szechuan sauce, right?
Yeah, I've never actually seen that. I've never seen that show. I don't have cable. And really what I watch is predominantly baseball every day during the season anyways. Star Trek every day. I always have one of the series going on, usually late at night. Deep Space Nine is my favorite of the series. I'm also currently watching a BBC drama called Grantchester. I'm a sucker for those BBC crime shows.
Oh, Lord Almighty.
Yeah, I went to school for history, so I'm a big historical buff. So I like how they do a lot of period pieces. And the one I'm watching is called Grantchester. It features a Anglican priest, or Episcopalian priest, I guess we'd call him here. And he's helping a detective solve murders.
Oh, wow. That actually sounds kind of cool. I might check that out.
It's not bad. I like it. There's a couple other ones I really like. Inspector Lewis was good. And Endeavor is another good one. Right now I'm playing Metal Gear Solid 5, a couple years behind the time. Finishing that up. It was one of the games I bought on Xbox. It was on sale, dirt cheap, and I'm like, yeah, I'll play it someday. Well, this someday started a couple weeks ago for me. I'm also playing Yoku's Island Express on the Switch. which is a pinball platformer where you play as a dung beetle that is the postman on his island, and you have to deliver letters to different people around the island. Never played a pinball game like that before. It's pretty cool. So it's platforming with the pinball flippers. Play Marvel Puzzle Quest on my phone sometimes.
Oh God.
Yeah. So, that's all I'm really watching and playing right now. Again, I'm maybe playing.
What are you reading?
Right now I'm not reading anything. Press releases from game publishers. That's about it. Developers and publishers. I read those every day.
God.
A lot of them I post to the blogs, but not all of them. Yeah. So that's about it. So why don't we jump into our main topic here? We're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch today. I'm a big fan of it. I've had it since day one. It might be my favorite console of all time. So, I know, Mike, you said you don't have one and you don't know a lot about it and you want to learn more. So, what do you got?
Yeah,
for
definitely. Well, okay, so my biggest problem right now with the Nintendo Switch is I got burned really bad by Nintendo these last two consoles.
Yep.
You know, I got burned with the Wii and the Wii U, and it really put a bad taste in my mouth. So I feel like, you know, if I invested in this Nintendo again, I'm going to get burned again. I don't want to have this damn thing just sitting in a box somewhere with maybe just a half a dozen games that are really good and nothing to show for it, you know? The other thing I have is, the controls kind of remind me of the Wii. You know, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I think the one thing I like about it is, you know, the portable screen. I like the fact that you pick it up and go. But, you know, so tell me what you think about that. Like, how have you felt about this new Nintendo console?
So, I was also burned with the Wii to the point where I didn't even think about getting the Wii U, because once I found out you had to go like this with the nunchuck, I said, all right, I'm done. I had no interest. And, you know, I didn't really know anything about the Switch other than it was going to be a hybrid console. And I saw on Facebook one morning that my buddy had just pre-ordered one, and, you know, I woke up, it's like 6 a.m., and I'm like, I got the money, I'll pre-order one too. I should probably see what it is first, you know. But the I don't think I've been burned by this. It's, like I said, it might be my favorite console of all time. The portability aspect of it is tremendous. You know, if I want to go outside and sit on the porch and hang out with my cats, I can bring that out there and I can play Breath of the Wild. A lot of people were bashing the 720p screen on the tablet itself. But I don't get what the issue is. Like, on a 7-inch screen, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between 1080p and 720p, let alone 4K. You know, if you wanted a 4K screen on there, you're going to drive up the price way too much, and it would just, the price point would be too high for almost everyone. At $299, it's the cheapest entry console right now. So, unless you get a used or you can somehow find an original Xbox One. Like I said, I really didn't like the motion controls in the Wii, and that's why I didn't get the Wii U. And while the Switch does have those, most games you can turn it off. And if you can't, it's a game like 1-2 Switch where it's designed to use them, and that's the only way to play it. But that's just like using Wii Sports. With the Wii Sports and the bowling, you didn't want to sit there with a standard controller and push the A button to roll the ball. So, like in Breath of the Wild, when you're aiming the bow, or if you throw the boomerang, you can use the motion controls for that to aim. But you can also use the left thumbstick. And I found that if I used the thumbstick and the motion control in conjunction together, I could sometimes do some really quick turning to shoot a target. So you could hit targets much quicker. Yeah, it took a little getting used to, but I really liked it. And to the point where I want any shooter to have that. And I don't think Wolfenstein 2 did, and I think I could have used it.
I was a little disappointed with Wolfenstein 2 anyway.
You know, I thought the story was good. And I played it on the Switch. I waited. The graphics did take a hit from the Xbox and the PlayStation versions. but it was, I was playing it for the story. I wasn't playing it for the graphics, and
Right.
I had fun with it.
So, to get back on track, I understand what you're saying about the graphical detail. I noticed that the smaller the screen, if you go too high with the graphical like output, like 1080,
Yep.
And stuff like that, it gets really choppy.
Yep.
And it looks like grainy on certain areas. And so I thought to myself, I'm like, everybody's complaining it's not 1080p, PI. Dude, it's screen's this big.
Yeah,
if you go any higher, it's going to ruin the graphics.
Yeah, it's almost the same size as like a very large smartphone. I mean, like the iPhone Pluses are like a 6 or 7 inch screen, I believe. So the Switch is a 7-inch screen, and I think Nintendo really plays well to their strengths, and most of their games are very stylized. The graphics are not realistic, and I think that's good because for several reasons. One, it holds up well over time. Like if you look at, say, Wind Waker and compare the graphics to a realistic-looking game from the same time frame, those realistic graphics don't look realistic anymore, and they look bad. But Wind Waker still looks pretty good. With Breath of the Wild, it looks great on the handheld screen, and I want to say it runs at 60 FPS or close to it in handheld, which is pretty good. And Nintendo really knows how to optimize it well because it's their hardware, but it's fun. That's the thing with the Switch is I always have fun playing. Like it's always a fun experience.
See, and that's what it's about. It's gaming needs to be fun.
Yeah.
It's I have all these friends that are like, they have these massive computer towers and they've got the $16 billion setup, and they're always working on it. They're always complaining about it, and they're like, well, now it runs these amazing games, but then you're starting to sit there and have to tweak them every 5 minutes. I'd rather just have fun.
Yeah.
I don't care that my graphics, don't look like I'm reaching into the screen. I just want something that's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I recently bought the Devil May Cry collection on the Steam sale that was released. I'm like, these games don't look realistic, but they're fun.
Yep.
They're funny. They make you laugh. They make you cry. I mean, there was a part in Devil May Cry, no spoilers, of course, that near the end that really just I had to put my controller down and just sit back. And I went, damn. I just I wanted to cry, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what gaming should be. And I think that's what we're trying to do here at Alpha Nerds too, is, gaming needs to be fun.
Exactly.
And we need to get more people involved so we can all have fun together and nobody gets left behind.
Yep. I agree. Going back to your question there about the Joy-Con controllers on the Switch and the motion controls, they really souped it up from what the Wii Remote was. They're a lot more precise. I'm speaking from playing games like 1-2 Switch, and this HD Rumble that they call it. I don't know why they call it HD, but dude, it's impressive. There's one of the games in 1-2 Switch where you hold one of the Joy-Con in your hand, and on the screen is a wooden box, and you have to roll it around, and guess how many marbles are in the box? And you can feel each marble bounce.
That's incredible.
They really improved it. I mean, they took, it's like going from the Model T that was the Wii U to almost like a Ferrari with the Joy-Con. I mean, it's dramatically improved. They packed so much hardware into those little Joy-Con. The right ones have the infrared sensor, which is used in the Labo. That's how most of the Labo kits work. There's reflective tape and reflective strings in there, and the infrared sensor picks up those movements, and that's how it makes the piano play. That's how it knows which keys you're pressing.
That's crazy.
They've got the gyroscope in there, and there's the issues at launch with the left Joy-Con. We're having problems disconnecting. If anything with meat, like your foot, a pet walked in front of it, it would disconnect. And it was because the antenna didn't have a piece of foam to insulate it from the rest of the circuit board. I contacted Nintendo. I sent it out, I think, on a Tuesday, and I had it back Thursday or Friday, free of charge.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Now, granted, I live like 45 minutes from one of the repair facilities, so that helped. But, their customer service is good. I use the Pro controllers sometimes too, and that thing, it feels almost like the Xbox controller. It's a little thinner in the handles, but the buttons are bigger. It just feels really nice. You can get, I think, something like 40 hours of gameplay off a 3-hour charge. It's got the built-in gyroscope, just like the Joy-Con do. Sometimes I'll use the Joy-Con grip. Sometimes, honestly, my favorite, unless I'm using a game like Breath of the Wild where I have to aim and it's motion assisted, I'll take the 2 Joy-Con and just put my hands wherever I want. I use them just separated. If I want to sit like this with one and put one up here, you can do that. So however you feel comfortable gaming, you can do that. So a game like, say, Octopath Traveler, I played almost entirely that way. Just Joy-Cons wherever I want.
That seems to me like that would be really good for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
Because, like me, I've busted my hands numerous times. So, for me, holding a controller for 9, 10, 11, 12 hours at a time when I game binge, it hurts after a while. And that just seems like it would help a lot.
Yeah, I think so. The Joy-Con are a little small. I want to say they're only maybe 3.5, 4 inches. And some people that have Gorilla Mittens, have complained about it. I don't have an issue with them. I did get grips for them, so they don't get grody and they sit in my hands better. Yeah, I love the Joy-Con. It's really impressive hardware, and I'm sure that there's stuff that they've packed in there and Nintendo has purposes for that they haven't even shown us yet.
Oh yeah. So my big question right now then is, what kind of nostalgia are we looking at? The Wii and the Wii U had that virtual store.
Yep.
Where you had all those old Nintendo games that they were putting on there. A lot of the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy games. Are those still available now, or are they not bringing them over?
Not yet. The Nintendo Switch Online service is starting at the end of this month, and it's going to be $20 for a year. Compared to Xbox and PlayStation is cheap. It's going to include the cloud save feature, that's one of the big issues I do have with the Switch, is that your game save data saves only on the internal memory. So if you have an issue with the Switch and you have to send it in, more often than not, your gameplay data gets wiped.
Is there not a memory card that you can take out?
There is, but that's only for games, not for gameplay data. It's got a micro SD card, and I think you can fit up to. I think they said 2 terabyte in there, but good luck finding an SD card, micro SD card that size right now. I want to say I have a 256 in there, and I don't know, 40 or 50 games in there. Granted, a lot of them are smaller indie titles, but so that cloud save feature that's coming with the online will be nice. But the thing they're also adding is those classic NES and SNES games that come with the paid subscription for $20 a year. In the original Mario Brothers, not Mario 1 that came with the NES, with the Duck Hunt pack, the action pack, but the one where you can play as Mario Luigi and you run back and forth, that is going to be one of the first titles. And what's interesting now is you can play that multiplayer online.
Oh, that ought to be cool. Hey, we got a question here from my buddy Alan. Hey, Alan, brother, how you doing? Are you excited for the new Streets of Rage, and how do you feel about old titles coming back, like the reboot of Golden Axe and Final Fight?
I haven't really looked at the Streets of Rage. I watched the launch video, and I guess it's cool. We'll see when it comes out. Those are games I never really played when I was a kid because I didn't have a Sega, so I'm not interested. But I know other people are.
See, I'm actually excited for it. Streets of Rage was like a cool one for me because I remember my dad. It's like a really good memory of my dad. Would when we went bowling and stuff. When I would get tired because I was a kid with asthma and everything, and I wasn't able to do a lot. He would give me quarters to go play, and Streets of Rage was one of the games that was in there.
Yeah,
they had that little arcade corner. And the Streets of Rage, man, I was constantly just pop quarters in there, and that was a really great game. So I'm hoping they do a good job with this, because Streets of Rage is one of those series that it needs to be simple.
Yep.
It doesn't have to be, like dark and gritty and a reboot of everything, the Dark Knight crap. I mean, to me, it's just like it's one of those old school 80s, like hair metal, cheap Karate Kid sagas, it's awesome. As for the reboot of Golden Axe, I have not seen much about this yet.
Neither have I. I'm going to have to look at that.
So I will have to get back to you guys on this one.
Mark that down.
But I do like Golden Axe, and I don't know if you guys remember, there was actually a reboot of its sister game, Gauntlet, back on the PlayStation 3, and I have that. And that was a good game, actually. Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
So, yeah.
As for the rebooting of all the old games, I would like to see some of the lesser-known titles get rebooted. One of my favorite Nintendo games of all time, Star Tropics. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but it starred Mike Jones, a yo-yo, and a good old-fashioned adventure through some dungeons and a bunch of new places.
Yeah, and who developed that? Was that Square?
Yeah, actually, it was NCSoft. So it was before they became SquareSoft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I remember playing that game. I think I rented it a couple times, and that was a fun game. And going back to the nostalgia and the Nintendo games, there, Capcom is really taking a liking to it. They in May of last year, so when the Switch was in its third month, they released the Street Fighter 2. I forget which edition it was. There's like 3,000 of them.
2 Turbo Hyper Edition. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's cool is you could go with the modern upscale graphics, or you could go to 16-bit, either or.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. It had all
the characters, and it's fun. I bought it, and every now and then, you got 15 minutes, you just want to, do some Hadoukens and some Tiger uppercuts. So it's fun.
Tiger.
With the success of that, though, Capcom is like, well, let's put the Mega Man games on there too. So they've released both Mega Man Legacy collections, and I got the one from the Nintendo. So that's Mega Man's 1 through 8, I believe.
1 through 6.
I think they added 7 and 8, which were released later in the Legacy collection.
Oh, did they? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And my buddy Adam and I used to play the crap out of Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3, Mega Man 4. I forgot how hard those games are. Like,
right?
I was going back through, and I probably played a couple hours. I was like, man, I don't think I have the chops for this anymore. Then I realized they added a rewind function, so every time you fall off the pit, you can rewind it a few seconds and time your jump better. But holy cow, those games are hard. What else is
DuckTales was another one they rebooted. Did you see that one, the remastered version?
They did, but that's only on PlayStation, I believe, and maybe Steam.
No, it's on PC, too.
It's Steam and PlayStation.
Plays marvelously, by the way.
I bet. And with this nostalgia factor, you still have Nintendo. They've got that stable of their IPs that they just keep remaking new games for it. Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart. I believe Mario Kart is going to be one of the games from the Super Nintendo that's added to the online subscription. So that'll be awesome to play the original Mario Kart on Super Nintendo with your buddy across the world.
I'm actually gonna be really stoked for that, because I was like a huge Mario Kart fan on the Super Nintendo. That's like me and my best friend Timmy. I don't know if he's watching right now, but Tim, love you, brother. We would sit down on my Super Nintendo, and it would literally be from like 7 in the morning on Saturday until like 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. I mean, it was just like 2 days worth of binging on those games.
Yeah,
and because I had all the Nintendo, he had all the Sega. And then he got the PlayStation, I got the N64, so it was like back and forth. It was a lot of fun. But that was definitely like one of the really memorable titles. And Super Mario RPG was another one,
yes.
Which was amazing game.
Yes, it was. That is a very underrated game. I believe it was on the SNES Classic that was reissued.
Yeah, it's on the virtual store. It was on the virtual store for the Wii. I actually have my Wii with those.
that was a really fun game. What else? One game it's not a Nintendo, not a Nintendo published game, but it was on the NES that I want them to bring back is River City Ransom.
Oh my god, yeah.
That game was the best. I love those, those old school arcade style games, and
Grilled Mormons.
they just don't make them like that anymore. And, well, actually, some developers do, and it's a good segue into our next topic, the indie game spotlight.
All right.
We're gonna focus every week on an indie game or two, and some indie studios, because it seems like a lot of times these days, the only games that get coverage are your big AAA titles, your Red Dead Redemption, your Call of Duty, your Battlefield, etc. Destiny. Yeah. And there's a lot of great games that are made by smaller studios that don't get mentioned. And we're not going to talk about, your Rocket League or your Hollow Knight. Nothing against those games, but they get a good press as it is. Yeah. Hollow Knight so far is my game of the year on the Nintendo Switch, by the way. The only console it's on. So this week we're going to talk about two games that come from my area, the Rochester, New York area. The first one is Wolverblade, which is in the vein of the River City Ransom, the Streets of Rage. You play as a Celt that is fighting a Celt from the northern tribes that is fighting Celts and Romans from the southern tribes. And it's one of those button masher arcade style, just like River City Ransom, Streets of Rage, Final Fight on Super Nintendo. It's a lot of fun. You got three characters. There's the female that's quick and has dual wields. There's your medium armor male that's got the big sword, and then you got your big burly male that's got I think he's got a claymore. But you just you run around and you chop up guys. You hack and slash. You can. I was playing it for a while and I was like, what is this thing that I keep picking up and throwing at them? Then I realized it was another Celt's arm that I chopped off, and I was throwing it at a guy. Yeah, it's just a lot of fun, and it's tough. And you said you're feeding quarters into the arcade machine. Man, if that thing had quarters, quarters to play it, I probably would have been like $10 down after getting through like 3 levels.
Jesus.
They've got 2 settings, easy and normal, and I was like, well, I'll try it at normal. How hard can it be? Man, it's tough, but it is a lot of fun. And it's a game I highly recommend. It's got a good art style. I don't know how historically accurate it is. Ancient Rome and England is not really my area of expertise.
I think a game like that's not too worried about history.
but I think they did do, from what I was reading, at least some research into what happened. It's a lot of fun, though. It's a game I highly recommend. Check it out. It's available on the Xbox, the PlayStation 4, the Switch, and the PC, and it is developed by Darkwind Media. So that's one.
Yeah, there's a similar one called Fight and Rage on Steam, and it's like the most ridiculous, like anthropomorphic / human crossover. It's just, if you guys check that on out, say it's pretty cool.
Cool. What's it called?
Fight and Rage. It's literally fight, letter N apostrophe rage, and it's it reminds me a lot of Scott Pilgrim versus the World before it got pulled off the stores.
Yep.
It is so ludicrously funny. I mean, just some of the stuff that happens in it. It's like a cross between Scott Pilgrim and Gunmetal, and I just oh my god, dude, it's hysterical. The other one I really like. I don't know if a lot of people. I mean, it's really big right now in the speed gaming community. A Hat in Time. Have you seen that one?
I have not.
Let me tell you, dude, if you like games like Super Mario 64, if you like platforming games like Banjo-Kazooie and, just anything like Sly Cooper and all those kind of games, you have to get this. You have to.
Okay.
It is the most whimsically fun. I mean, there are little adult jokes in there, but most kids would never understand them. It's one of those games that really goes out of its way to just be a lighthearted, fun adventure. And you play a little girl who is driving a time ship in through space, and you end up getting all your time tokens taken out, which are these hourglasses. And this is where the Banjo-Kazooie element comes in, and the Mario 64, collecting stars and the puzzle pieces and stuff. And your powers come from your hat. And so, a hat in time. And I have beat this game. I have replayed it a million different times. I still am not bored with it.
Nice.
There's always something to do. I mean, they have time trial levels. They have secrets hidden everywhere. They have, the hat system. And, by the way, if you buy the game now, if you buy it before, I think it's the 13th, I have it marked on my calendar, you get the new expansion for free that's coming out. And I can pull it up on my calendar right now. I can actually tell you when it is. The 13th of September. If you buy the game before the 13th of September, if you log on that day and click the buy link, it will be free.
Okay.
For the expansion coming out.
And is that game only available on Steam?
It's on Steam. I think it's on the Xbox and the PlayStation as well.
Okay, I'll take a look for it.
The Switch kind of got snubbed by them, and I'm not understanding why, but I think they're just a little too lazy to code it. I don't know what's going on, but I didn't quite read that whole story. What's your other game?
My other game, also from another Rochester, New York studio, called Bread Machine Games. That's right, Bread Machine Games. It's called Slamland. Slamland, a friend of mine that's a local developer told me about it. I was like, all right, he's giving me the premise, and I thought it sounded strange, but I was like, all right, I'll try it. It's, I'd say it's a cross between Smash Brothers and NBA Jam.
What?
So, the gameplay is a lot like Smash Brothers, but there's different platforms. You jump around, you have up to 4 people on the screen at a time, and so it's like Smash Brothers in that respect. But instead of doing special moves and attacking them, you grab a hold of them, and you either shoot them into a basketball hoop in the middle, or you slam dunk them into the hoop. And yeah, so that's where the NBA Jam aspect comes into it. And I tell you, it's a lot of fun. The announcer and the commentator is great when you slam dunk someone in. It's hard. It's hard. I've won a couple rounds. There's different game modes and different characters, like Spoder, who's like a Spider-Man. There's a skeleton. There's a human that's, I think he's just wearing tighty whities and he's got a big beard.
Reaper.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. It's got a pretty cool art style. It's the kind of game that if you're having a couple buddies over and you're having some drinks, would be a blast to play. I want to say it was like $7.50. It's relatively inexpensive. It is well worth it. It is well worth it. I cannot recommend Slamland enough. Both that and Wolverblade, they're both really good games. So, yeah, that's my indie spotlight for the week. Any other indie games you want to talk about?
Oh, man, I have so many games on Steam that I end up playing. Warframe obviously is a big one to me.
Yep.
But the one I'd like to talk about that if you really like hack and slash, and nobody really knows it exists other than the people that talk about it, is Riptale. Riptale. This game is so simplistic, it's so basic that anybody can play it. And it's really easy to play, but it takes a lifetime to master. And you literally just start as this ninja with a red scarf. It's got that stylized, like, black and white kind of gameplay. There's no real color except red.
Yep.
And you can unlock filters later. It's a lot like Downwell. You and me both, Alan. You and me both, man. But basically, all you do is you run around, and it's literally jump and slash, and that's it. And the cool thing, though, about the game, the real hook that kind of gets you addicted to the game, is you can chain the attacks. And what you do is there's rewards for basically killing multiple enemies without touching the ground.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it's really cool, because the more you do and the more you unlock, you get money, and you can find shops throughout the levels and stuff that you can buy different types of attacks that help you chain together more attacks. And it's more efficient to not buy anything, but you can actually find like your own play style with the different gems you have, which is your attacks.
Okay.
The other cool element about it is there is a story, but it takes you actually looking for it and understanding, why there are certain enemy types and why there are certain types of levels. And the books that you find in the libraries is little pieces, that you find to put the story together. And it's an amazing, almost like a puzzle, if you will. So, and the game's relatively cheap. I think it's only like $8, $9, something like that. And I must have played it for like 100 hours already.
So you got your money's worth.
Oh, most definitely.
It sounds fun. Sounds like a fun game. And that's on Steam as well.
Yep, that's on Steam as well, man. Most of my games, if I recommend them, they're always on Steam. I don't have a PlayStation 4 right now. I don't have an Xbox, and obviously I don't have a Switch yet. Most of my money just goes to trying to keep my car floating and trying to get my house picked up. Yeah,
no, I hear you. And see, I don't really do any PC gaming at all, so that's good because you can speak to it. I can't. The Switch has also got a lot of great indie games on there too, and they do periodic sales. I just picked up a Pirates game that's kind of like an RTS game for $1 yesterday. So,
interesting.
Haven't played it yet. I think it's called Pirates All Aboard. But I'll let you guys know how it is once I get some time into it. But we must move on to our next topic. Upcoming video games and video game news. So, as I mentioned earlier, there's a little game coming out at the end of this week called Spider-Man, and people may or may not have heard of it. So PlayStation only. It looks awesome. I know people are complaining about the puddles, but people complain about anything, so...
Sky's blue, no, it's azure.
Yeah, I wouldn't give too much credence to those complaints, and I'm sure the game's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to playing it. What else is coming up that I'm excited about? The next month here, we've got Starlink Battle for Atlas.
Oh man, that looks good.
If anyone doesn't know, it's a piloting game. I call it the Rogue Squadron we never got. The next Rogue Squadron we never got. It's made by Ubisoft. It's got seamless space-to-ground combat. And a lot of people were turned off initially because it's the toys-to-life idea. You've got the ship that attaches to your controller, and you can swap out the pieces on the ship on the fly, and so you can make your guns fire backwards. Or if you're being chased by someone that's weak to fire, but you've got ice guns equipped, you can swap out the ice guns for fire guns and do things like that. And it happens while you're playing the game. But you don't actually need that to play the game. The game can be completely played without the toys to life. So if you want to just download it, you can. What's really got me interested about this, though, is on the Switch. Nintendo loves working with these third-party developers and letting them use their intellectual property. So the Switch version has Star Fox,
what?
Fox McCloud and the R-Wing. So that looks pretty sick. I think there's 7 or 8 ships right now confirmed. 7 or 8, and 4 more to be announced. And each ship has its own pilot. I believe you can swap the pilots in between ships. I don't know that for sure because I haven't played it yet. If you check out the blogs, I put up an article about it over the weekend. There's some cool videos.
Yeah. So we got Michael here, Hogo, everybody knows. He says, keeps hearing about the game. So is this like Skylanders, almost?
Well, the Toys to Life aspect is, but, again, it's not required. I believe with Skylanders it was required. This is just an additional feature that some people will use and others won't. But to me, it just looks like an awesome piloting game. It almost reminds me of No Man's Sky, where you can just go from the surface of the planet up into space and then back, without having to go through a loading screen.
Except it was, intended and fun.
Yeah. Hey, I liked No Man's Sky. I played it day one. I was impressed by the scope of it. I thought it was very ambitious, and I was happy. But I know a lot of people weren't. What else is coming out? We got Mega Man 11 coming out next month. That should be a lot of fun. It's an old school Mega Man. It's not the Mega Man X. It's the Mega Man from the Nintendo. Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming out soon.
I'm somewhat excited for that because I like the first Red Dead Redemption. That was pretty good.
So did I, but I'm on the fence about playing the second one. I find my gaming habits have been changing. I don't want these long, drawn out story games. I want shorter puzzle games. So it might just be the time I have available now as opposed to 8 years ago. So
Yeah.
Warframe, as you mentioned a couple times, that's coming to the Switch at some point. I don't know exactly when. Hopefully soon. Which I was surprised to find out that was coming to the Switch because it's an online-only game, and a lot of people, if you're playing on the go, necessarily don't have access to the internet. So I was surprised that you decided to bring it to the Switch. But hey, I'm glad because the more the merrier. Let's get as many games on there as we can. And
Oh yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was saying, it's not just the Switch, man. I mean, I'm so happy it's coming to the Switch, but they're talking about doing cross-platform as well.
Yep.
Which would be interesting because a lot of people that I know on Warframe had this problem where they've been playing on Xbox for years, and then they moved over to PC and none of their stuff transferred over.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're going to offer like a merge profile, or that'd be great. That'd be wonderful. But what I'm excited about Warframe right now, have you seen the new expansion trailer?
I have not. The last time I played was right after Saren Prime came out. So it's been a hot minute.
You are way back there.
It's been
2013? Yeah,
No.
2013, Saren Prime came out.
No, 3 years ago. Yeah.
So, okay, yeah, so what, 20... Oh, yeah, 2014.
It may have been 2013 on PC. I'm talking on PlayStation. So you may be right that it was 2014 for PC.
Well, buddy, if you liked No Man's Sky and you're looking forward to this new one, let me tell you something. They're going to have space battles. They're going to have they're going to have ship to ship raiding. They're going to have, the cool thing is they're bringing in a new type of mode of transportation for land. So instead of just having the wings, the arch wings,
Yep.
which honestly, I don't know. I didn't think personally that they fit Cetus when it came out very well, but it's nice to be able to fly around because it's a big place. They're bringing in, I don't know if you were a big Ninja Turtles fan, but the new Trino surfboard.
Nice.
So you literally are surfing on this like futuristic surfboard all over the place. It's going to be awesome. And they're going to throw in a little Tony Hawk too, because you're going to be able to do tricks and stuff and off rocks and make jumps and stuff. And but I'm excited for that, but I'm also excited because we saw last expansion with Cetus the introduction of the ZAW, Z-A-W, which was a customizable melee weapon.
Okay.
You could make every type of weapon in the game, and it was absolutely to your specifications. Speed and strength and reach and all that. You had to balance it out and make a new weapon. Now, with the 2 new expansions that are coming, you are going to make your own pistol. And we're getting a new companion. You will get to make your own MOA, which is going to be a blast because the MOAs are freaking hysterical. They're just these little ostriches that walk around, and shoot at you. This time, though, you can actually customize it and make it look however you want. And I'm really excited for all of this.
Right on. That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Write that down as well. And speaking of Warframe, as I said, I'm getting a PS4 this weekend. I'm going to start up the ANG Warframe Guild. Or Warframe.
Oh, nice.
So anyone that plays Warframe on PS4, keep an eye out for that. That will be starting up soon. Got what else? Oh, one thing that I think has been overshadowed for an upcoming game, which is kind of unfortunate, but it's just nature of the beast sometimes in the industry, is there's a new Tomb Raider game coming out in 10 days. Did you know that?
I did know that.
I feel like it's not getting enough press, not getting enough hype, and maybe it's because everyone's all gaga for Spider-Man right now, and then they're looking next month as Red Dead, but it looks impressive, and I think it's worth probably going to be worth checking out.
I liked the most recent Tomb Raider. I actually bought it on Steam, and I've been playing it. It is a great game. This was even better to me than the Nathan Drake. What are those games called? Uncharted?
Yes.
Yeah. This was even better than that. I mean, and those games were amazing. But the Lara Croft one really felt like a real, like what I imagined Tomb Raider to be in my head when the games first came out.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next Tomb Raider game. So.
Yeah, Michael's like, dude, he's freaking out over here. He's like, these two Tomb Raiders are amazing, challenging, great visuals. Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and now this one. Yeah, I have the Tomb Raider. I haven't tried Rise of the Tomb Raider yet. I'm sorry about that, Mike. I'll have to get that on Steam as well, but I really enjoy those games. But I agree. I'm actually really sad that it's not getting as much press as Spider-Man and the rest of them, because, I mean, these games were fascinating.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, they were deep, they were insightful, in both positive and negative ways, and they really made you think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Hopefully, it does well. There's a couple times coming up in the next year or so where there's a lot of games that look good that are coming out within close proximity to each other. Hopefully, they can each all gain their own voice and their own following, and nothing gets left behind. So, I mean, I think
I'm hoping, man.
February 22nd, I want to say it's Anthem, Crackdown 3, and one other game. That's another major title. I mean, it's just it might be Days Gone on the PlayStation. Don't quote me on that, but I think it's something like that. But that's going to be a busy single day, let alone in the same month. So it'll be interesting.
That's going to be a heavy hit on my wallet, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the pick which one I want, and then get the other ones a few months later on a sale.
Yeah.
So, next up we got the Alpha Nerds upcoming events. As many of you may know, John has a stream every night. Feel free to watch that. Join in. We love getting the community engaged. We've got Free for All Friday every week. It's Friday evening. At 9 Central Time.
I have missed. I have missed. I am so sorry for that, guys. I've missed Free for All Friday.
Yeah, well, make it when you can. That's all we expect. We've also, I believe, this Friday starts up the PUBG tournament for those of you that are interested in that. And even if you don't play PUBG, watch it. It's probably going to be a good time. So it will be a good time. Not really my game. But
not me either.
I'm gonna give it a go. I'll watch. I'll tune in. What else do we got? We're also, I'm like I said, I'm at the beginning of the podcast. I'm one of the editors for the blogs. I do a lot of the writing and publish a lot of press releases. We're always looking for new writers. So it doesn't even have to be about video games. If you want to write about anything you're passionate about or nerdy about, and you want to contribute, just let me know. You can email writers@alphanerdsguild.com and let myself and the other editor, Kenny, know. We'll reach back out to you, ask for a writing example, and you can write about whatever you want about. We don't have, hey, you need to write about this week, and you need to write about that. It's whatever you want. We ask 1 to 2 articles a month, and they don't have to be 10,000-word dissertations, 500 words is fine. Just write a page. Throw an image on it. So.
Oh, okay. That seems actually pretty easy then.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. Sometimes I've found that writing some of the reviews can be a bit lengthy because we're not getting review codes yet. So, like when Octopath Traveler came out, I had to cram 70 hours of gameplay, I think, into like 18 days or something like that, and then write my review.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, it was a bit tense, but it's all about getting it done when you can. We did actually get our first review code last week.
Oh,
for Into the Breach, which was on it's been on Steam for a while, but it launched on the Nintendo Switch. So we got a review code for that. Our first one, the first official Alpha Nerds Guild review code. So check out Daniel Riley's review of Into the Breach on the blogs now. That's about all I got for tonight. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I was actually looking at that Into the Breach for a second. That's like it reminds me of the old, what do you call them? Like the mech games back in the day on the
Mech
Super
Warrior?
Nintendo. Yeah, like back in the day on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
That's pretty neat.
It's mechs versus kaiju.
Dude, that's awesome.
What more can you ask for? It's a real-time strategy game. I think on Steam it's getting a 9 out of 10, which should tell you something.
That's incredible. Yeah, usually Steam's like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
Bunch of meme lords on there.
Yeah. So that's it for this week's episode. Next week, we're going to talk about some Spider-Man, of course. It's the big one coming out right now. And we'll have some more indie games for you. So
yeah. I got a bunch in my folder, man. You want to hear about them? I will review them.
Sounds good to me. I look forward to it. All right, nerds. Have a good night.
Signing off, bros. Have a